dear students, today let us see how to mark irrational numbers on number line. So we know that any number that can be expressed in the form p by q, where p and q belong to the set of integers and q is non-zero, belong to the set of rational numbers. So the numbers which cannot be expressed in this form are called irrational numbers. Let us see some examples of irrational numbers. Numbers like 0.10, 100, 1000, 10000, like that, which continues, and numbers like the square root of 2, which gives the value 1.414213, and it goes on, where no number pattern repeats belong to the set of irrational numbers. The value of pi 3.141596, that goes on, is also an irrational number. Due to the nature of irrational numbers, plotting them accurately on number line with the help of our simple ruler becomes difficult. So, to mark irrational numbers on number line, we take the help of Pythagoras theorem. Here we have a right angled triangle where the side opposite to the right angle is called the hypotenuse. Let me denote it with C and the other two sides as A and B. Then the Pythagoras theorem states that the square of the hypotenuse is equal to the sum of the squares of other two sides. We make use of this theorem to mark the irrational number, which is going to be the size of the hypotenuse. If I take A as 1 and B as 1, then C square becomes A square, that is 1 square, plus B square, that is 1 square, which is equal to 1 plus 1 equal to 2. This implies C is equal to square root of 2. So if I create a triangle with A as 1 unit and B as 1 unit, the hypotenuse will be root 2 units. Here we have to first draw a number line and mark the units. Here I have taken 1 unit as 2 inches for my board. You can take 1 unit as 2 centimeter or any convenient value, but make sure that the unit is constant throughout your work. So if you have taken 2 centimeter gap here, 2 centimeter gap has to be maintained between all the numbers. Once you have drawn the number line, use a compass to mark any further value so that the accuracy is not lost. To mark root 2 on number line, we know that in this right angled triangle, if C has to be root 2, then A is equal to 1 and B is equal to 1. Here I have drawn a number line with 3 centimeters as 1 unit. So from 0 to 1, the 1 unit I am taking as B. Now at 1, I am keeping the protractor and marking 90 degree. I am drawing a perpendicular from point 1. So now I am taking the compass to take exact 1 unit, that is between 0 and 1, which is same as between 1 and 2, 2 and 3, etc. I am keeping the compass on 1 and marking exactly 1 unit on the perpendicular I have drawn. So this is our A. This is 1 unit and this is 1 unit, and joining 0 and this new point gives us a line which is exactly of length root 2. So this is our C, which is root 2. Now this root 2 has to be represented on this number line. So again, with the help of our compass, I am taking the distance from 0 to this point, which is our root 2, and marking it on our number line. So I'm drawing a full curved line so that we can see it clearly. So this point on number line now represents root 2. Similarly, to plot root 3, if C has to be root 3, then C square is equal to root 3 whole square, that is 3, which can be expressed as 2 plus 1 or 1 plus 2 also. And here we take A as 2 and B as 1, or A as 1 and B as 2. Both will give the same value for root 3. We can plot it on the number line. I'll show both the methods of taking A and B as 2 and 1 and 1 and 2 on a paper. After we have plotted the root 2 on number line, let us try to plot root 3 on number line. Now, if the hypotenuse, that is C, has to be root 3, we know that one side has to be 1 and another side has to be root 2. First, let me take B as root 2 and A as 1 and mark root 3, and also let's swap A and B to mark A as root 2 and B as 1 and try to see if root 3 gives the same value. Now for convenience, I have taken a new number line with the same unit, that is 3 centimeter is marked as 1 unit, and here I'll mark root 2 first because that's what we need to mark the side B. So this is the 1 unit. I'm going to take protractor, mark 90 degree from 1, join 1 end, 90 degree dot I have marked. Then take exactly 1 unit, keep it on 1 and cut it here. This will give me root 2 as we have seen. And when I take this arc and mark it here, I'll do it very lightly. I get root 2 marked on the number line. That's what we have seen. Now, keeping this root 2, this distance as B, which is equal to root 2 now, I'll take 1 unit, and the same way I'll take a protractor, keep it on the point where root 2 is marked on the number line, mark 90 degree, join it to the root 2 value, and with that 1 unit I will cut this line here. Now this is our A, that is 1. Now when I join this, we get this value, that is root 3. Now keeping it on O and taking the distance root 3, I'll mark an arc here, cutting the number line, and this is the root 3 marking on my number line. Now let's swap the value of A and B. Let's take A as root 2 and B as 1 and see if it cuts at the same point. So here, since I have taken A as 1, here I had to mark 1 here. Now, since I'm taking B as 1, now this place becomes my B. I'll mark it as B dash for convenience. And the same line which we already have for root 2, I'll use the same 90 degree. Now I will take root 2 value. And from this 1, I'll mark root 2 value here. Now my A here is root 2 and B is root 1. Now joining this has to give me root 3. Now the most important thing is to see if this arc which we are going to draw matches with the arc which we have done previously. This is the arc we have done. And here it exactly reaches the same point on number line. So whether you take A and B as 1 and root 2 or A and B as root 2 and 1, it doesn't matter when you get the value of C. For curious kids, I have some more info here. Let's take root 6. If C has to be root 6, C square is equal to A square plus B square. So 6 can be expressed as 5 plus 1 or 3 plus 3 or 4 plus 2. Which of these is easier to plot? Let's see. So if you are taking 5 plus 1, that means you need the value of root 5 and 1. How do you find the value of root 5? Root 5, if C has to be root 5, again we have to express 5 as 2 plus 3 or 4 plus 1, which requires us to plot either root 2 and root 3 or square root of 4, that is 2 and 1, and find the value of root 5. Then plot root 6 with the help of it, or 3 plus 3 means we have to find the value of root 3 and use it to plot root 6, or we have to find the value of square root of 4, that is 2, which is obviously there on our number line, and the value of root 2 through this again, which can be expressed as 1 plus 1. So this way we can find root 6. Which is the most convenient method? Let us mark root 6 on number line. The previous perfect square of 6 is 4 and the next perfect square we have is 9. That means root 6 falls between square root of 4 and square root of 9. That is between 2 and 3. So accordingly, we need to mark on the number line. We can take A as root 3 and B as root 3 and get C as root 6. Or we can take one perfect square, that is A as 2 means A square becomes 4, then B as root 2, because we have 4 plus 2 is equal to 6, and square root of 4 and square root of 2 we can take as A and B. I'll show both of them on the same number line and let's see if the number root 6 comes on the same spot. First, let me take this 4 plus 2. The base here, I'll take root of 4, that is 2. I'll use set square to mark 90 degree because I find it easier sometimes. So we have to be accurately placing it. So here I have 2 and I have to mark root 2. Since I am using the same number line as the previous one, I'll take root 2 from the value which I have already calculated. Otherwise, we have to first plot root 2. So I'm going to take root 2 from this. And cut this perpendicular line at root 2. So here, this is 2 and this is root 2. When I join this 2, 0, I get the value root 6. This is root 6. Now let me take this compass and mark it on the number line. Here I got root 6. Now what if I had taken square root of 3 and square root of 3 as two sides? So since I'm using the same number line as the previous one, I'll take root 3 from here only. Otherwise, you have to freshly find it out on that. So I'll take root 3 from here. So from 0, I'll mark root 3. And I have to draw a perpendicular to this line at root 3, which has to be also of the length root 3. So here, this is square root of 3, and here, this is also square root of 3. Now, I join this 0 and the point where the square root of 3 has been cut by the compass. So this also should be square root of 6. Let's take the compass and verify. So let me start from here. So I draw an arc of this length, which also exactly goes on the root 6 we found with root 4 and root 2. Now with the help of whatever we have learned, can we plot something like square root of 48? So let us mark root 48 on number line. So previous perfect square to 48 is 36 and the next perfect square to 48 is 49. Square root of 36 is 6 and square root of 49 is 7. That is why our root 48 falls between 6 and 7. Accordingly, we have to mark on the number line. Here, I have taken a smaller scale of 2 centimeter to represent 1 unit. I am expressing root 48 as 36 plus 12, where 36 is a perfect square and I have to find root 12, which I'll find as 4 plus 8. Square root of 4 and square root of 8 I have to find, and this 8 will come as 4 plus 4. So to mark root of 48, I need square root of 36, that is 6, and square root of 4, that is 2, and square root of 4 2 times, that is also 2. So I need these many drawings. First finding out root 8, then root 12, then finding out root 48. Drawing a rough sketch like this helps us do it without errors. So the first thing, I have to find root 8, mark a perpendicular at 2 and take root 4, that is 2, and mark it here. Now I have here root 8, which I'll mark on the number line. Now I'll go to the second triangle to find out root 12. So this is my newly found root 8, there I'll draw a perpendicular and again take root of 4, that is 2, and cut it. Now I get root 12 here. I got root 12. I'll not mark it on number line because root 36 is going to be a longer one. So I'll take root 36 on this line, that is 6. And there again, I'll draw a perpendicular and in this perpendicular, I'll take square root of 12 value and mark it. Oh, that's too high. Okay. Now I join that big line and this is our root 48. I doubt that my compass will be able to take that much length. Since the compass was unable to stretch that much, I redid everything with a smaller scale, 1.5 centimeter as 1 unit, then drew the same thing. Now I have root 48 here, which I am marking on the number line. Root 49 is 7 and root 48 lies very close to 7. Root 48. The 7, root 48 is here and the 7 marking is here. Now for you guys, I have a question, that is mark root 10 on number line. Which combination do you choose? 5 plus 5, 9 plus 1, 4 plus 6, 8 plus 2. Tell me which is the combination that's more convenient to mark root 10. If this video was helpful, please let me know so that I can make more videos of this type. Love maths.